Hello everybody and welcome back to Gaming on Caffeine. My name is Isaac and we are back playing some FTB Infinity for episode 63. Now, last episode we were working on a brand new source of power in the form of the culinary generators and using wheat to make bread, to make toast, to make power. That was the plan, and since the end of last episode, it's been working pretty well. We've got quite a lot of wheat. Everything is still running as it should be. We're going to have a bit of an issue soon when these chests actually fill up with seeds, but I think we are a little whiles away from that just yet, especially on the outer two of the harvesters. But if we go ahead and take a quick look back inside our new power room, I guess, we will see that it's not done as well as I was hoping it would do. And if we take a look in here, you can see we don't have a nice backlog of wheat going. There is no bread being made in here. Well, there's one piece every so often is being made, and sometimes it gets made so fast that you can't even see it being made. It's kind of a little weird. You can see it's on, but you just can't see it go through. It goes through really, really fast, which is good, but we also don't have enough wheat to keep up with how fast this system is going. And if we look in most of these guys, they are running pretty low on toast, like really. They're about to run out of toast. The ones on the end here are doing pretty well. That's because these two are only being used to power the system. It used to be these three, but then I went ahead and added one over because they were doing so well. I might even lower it down to just one. Like if we go ahead and do something like this, if we get rid of these two, put those down like that, and then just get rid... get an extra... Oh! Station cannot be looked... Oh, okay. Yep. Okay. I made a few changes to our system up here. You'll see why. I'll talk about this later on. And there's a good reason why I've messed things up and moved things. Does this work again now? I hope it should. Let's see. Boom. Yeah, it does. Okay. Right. Good stuff, good stuff, good stuff. We want flux ducts, not conduits. Let's take those. I will get to why we have a vat here with some tanks and why I moved stuff around later on. That has to do with the second part of today's episode. The first is to go ahead and increase the rate at which we are producing wheat. So I'm going to do that. I'll see if this one generator is doing well enough to keep all of this powered. It might be for now, but if we start getting a lot of wheat coming through again, it might not be. So we are going to have to keep an eye on that. But what I want to work on to start with is I want to increase the speed at which we are producing wheat. And the way I'm going to do that is using fertilizer. If we go ahead and type in fertilizer, you can make, well, there is both fertilizer, the item, and the fertilizer. The fertilizer uses fertilizer to fertilize your crops. A bit of a weird sentence, but I think you know what I mean. And if you don't, I'm about to show you. So the fertilizer is a block just like any other. Let's go ahead and type in fertilizer and grab this guy. It's made with these ferrous ingots, ferrous gears, which I don't think I've seen before. I don't think I've seen any machine use those before, but apparently they're a thing. It's just iron and ferrous. And basically, I'm going to start by putting this down right about there. Now, I could put it down over here, but I kind of don't want to put it in the way of some of this stuff. So I'm going to put it over on this side, and we do want it to be facing all of the crops. And again, it is going to need an emerald upgrade. Do we have any spare emerald upgrades? We do not. However, we should be able to make some more. And basically what this is going to allow us to do is if we provide the fertilizer with fertilizer, it should go ahead and insta-grow some of the crops. It kind of acts like bone meal almost for the crops. So let's take you, and of course we are missing some of the raw plastic because we are always missing some of the raw plastic. So let's have a look. Rubber. Let's take some of you. Let's cook some of that up. We still have some in here. This is good. This is good. We can go ahead and do that. Boom, boom, and boom. Nice. Let's throw you into the fertilizer. Like so. Like so. And now, if we provide the stuff here with a form of fertilizer, it's going to start going faster. Now, there are a couple of fertilizers that we could choose from. There is the fertilizer from forestry, which I think doesn't work in the fertilizer machine. The two that do are the fertilizer, obviously, from Mine Factory Reloaded itself, which can be made using wheat, bone meal, sulfur, and sticks, or wheat, bone meal, string, and sticks. The string one seems a bit cheaper, but it does make less, so it's kind of understandable. You can also make it using a composter, which could be a very good idea for us if we set up some sewers over by the cows or the pigs and get ourselves just free, essentially free compost there, fertilizer. But the one we're going to make is this one here, the fertilizer from BiblioCraft 2. Now, the reason we're going to make this is because it's really, really, really cheap. We can make it using scrap and bone meal. Bone meal, we have an absolute butt ton of. If we look in our AE system right now, bones, we have 107,000 bones in our system. That's not including the near 80,000 bones we have in this deep storage unit right here. This isn't even connected to our AE system. So we have almost 200,000 bones right now. We have loads of bones. So one thing I've done since the end of last episode is I've decided to start making use of this room here. And you'll notice right down here, we have a familiar setup for those who have watched the previous episodes here. And what we have is a cobblestone generator with some upgrades in it, sending cobblestone to the recycler, which is being powered by this tesseract, which is just pulling power from our base's main power source, sending it along these rednet energy cables, which convert the redstone flux into EU, the power unit for BiblioCraft, and powering the recycler with 10 overclockers, which is producing scrap from cobblestone, sending it through to the chest here, which is now full because it makes it really, really fast. And we're going to use this scrap along with the bones from the deep storage unit to make ourselves a good amount of fertilizer, which we're then going to send up to the fertilizer to fertilize our wheat and hopefully drastically increase the speed at which we make power using bread. That's the plan. Whether or not it works out too well, we're about to find out. To start off with, we are going to need to fly all the way back to our AE system and make ourselves a cyclic assembler. The cyclic assembler allows us to auto-craft, because we are going to be auto-crafting ourselves some fertilizer. So we're going to need one of you. And last episode, I think it was, we made a bunch of tin gears, so we really don't have to worry about those, which is very nice indeed. Let's see, what else are we missing? Chest. We should have a chest, but we'll make an extra one just to be safe. Coil. I'm just going to make a stack of coils because we always need coils, and they're always the one thing that we never have. We'll take that. We'll take a cyclic assembler, and I think that should actually be all we need. So what we're going to do is, for now, I'm going to stick this down right about here. The reason I'm sticking it there is because it can get power. Now, what we need to do is we need to connect things up from... We need the scrap to come from here, the recycler, into the cyclic assembler. We don't really need this chest. We'll probably get rid of this chest. And this pipe is connected to the deep storage unit that has all of the bones in it. On the back of the bone deep storage unit, we have a transfer node, like so, pulling the bones out and getting ready to send them to the cyclic assembler. Now, one of the big issues with the cyclic assembler is its inventory slots. Both the bones and the scrap have to go into these blue squares down here. And the problem is that we're producing a lot of scrap. So what's probably going to happen is, if we connect this up, all of this scrap here is going to end up filling up all these slots. And if the bones can't get in, it's not going to make any fertilizer, which is a bad situation because the whole point of the system is to make fertilizer. However, there is a pretty nifty little pipe from Extra Utilities that is going to allow us to kind of bypass this issue in a pretty big way, and that is the rationing pipe from Extra Utilities. This guy, fairly easy to make. It's some stone slabs, some lapis, and some glass, all of which are fairly cheap, especially this late on in the game. And basically, if we stick these down on either side of the cyclic assembler, it's not going to let more than a stack of whatever item it's trying to put in, if that makes sense. So we're going to put one down here. We're going to put one down here. Don't want those to connect, so I think we can kind of just right-click and they'll go away. There we go. And then this one, we want to make sure they're both set to input, so we'll make sure they're both blue. Like that, blue and blue. And then I'm going to do something like this and kind of run this along to here. This should start to fill up with scrap, but you can see it's only putting one stack of scrap in, despite the fact that the recycler has more scrap, which is nice. Same thing's going to apply over here if we do something like this. This one's going to be a bit slower because it doesn't have any speed upgrades in it. I think this one does. Oh, my D key got a little bit stuck there. I think this one does, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, let's take 4 of those and go stick them in the other one. That's good. But it's done. It's not putting any more than a stack of bones in, which is pretty nice. So that's only going to ever keep a stack of both of those in, which is going to stop it from overflowing with one item and just stop it from stopping altogether. That sentence sounded a lot more complicated, I think, than it needed to be, but that's fine. The next thing we're going to need is a schematic. This is what basically the recipe that we are going to tell the cyclic assembler to make. We only need the one. Let's head on back over here, and we're basically going to tell it to do something. Now, as I'm saying this, I'm realizing that we have made a little bit of a mistake, and that mistake is that we are inputting bone meal into the system. We are inputting bones when we need bone meal. Now, we don't have factorization installed, so I think what we're going to have to do is make a second cyclic assembler and have one of them be used to make the bones into bone meal, and then the other one be used to make the fertilizer. So let's go ahead and grab 2 more copper gears real quick. Again, I'm just going to make like a stack of these. We've got a bunch of copper. We've got a bunch of iron. We can afford to start backlogging a little bit on some of this stuff. Let me get rid of some of this junk that we got from the mob trap there. And let's also go ahead and get another schematic like so. And I think we're also going to need another transfer node. Do we have a transfer node? We do not. That's fine. We should be able to make one without an issue. And it's going to be a lot easier if we type in node. Boom, boom, and chest. Why are we always out of chests? I'm making as many chests as we can. There we go. Stack of chests. This is the episode of mass production. Let's take a transfer node, and let's see if we can get this to work. So, what we're going to want to do is, we're going to want to have this. I'm going to put this... Ooh, I'm going to put this here, like so. And then we're going to have... Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to put it one further back. I'm going to put it here. Like that. Then we're going to have a transfer node there. And we still want the rationing pipe. We still don't want more than one to go out. Now, you can go in there. We want to set that to turn bone meal, bones into bone meal. So we'll just say bones equal bone meal. Tick. That can go in there. Let's get some more of those red net energy cables. Red net energy cables. Let's take those. I think these can be used to power the cyclic assembler. They can. That's going to turn those into bone meal. And now you can see again, it's only getting a stacking, which is good. We'll set this one to blue. It doesn't matter if this one fills up with bones, so we can have this whole thing here fill up with bones because it only needs bones to work. And then over here, same thing, schematic, boom, boom. You can go in there and just 2 scrap with 1 bone meal. Is it like that, or is it 1 scrap, 1 bone meal? Makes fertilizer. Nice. So you can see that's gone ahead and made a scrap. They're both a stack of fertilizer. They've both filled up instantly, which is kind of awesome. I'm just going to go ahead and dump this stuff back into the AE system. And then finally, this is where the tesseracts come in. We're going to have a tesseract there. We'll set it to frequency like, I don't know, 1/8T. Sure. We'll call it fertilizer. Like so. Give it a tick. Give it an add. We want this to send items only. And we probably also want this to send power. So, let me test something here. Is this going to work? If I get a flux duct and stick it down like that, is that going to allow power to go into there? Because I kind of want this to be able to send power as well. Because the fertilizer right now doesn't have any power. Let's see. If we put that on top, I'm not sure if it can directly just input. But let's go 180, aka fertilizer frequency. Does that receive fertilizer? It does not. Does it receive power? I think it just did, if I'm not mistaken. Do we have any item ducts lying around? We have some warp item ducts, which work like normal item ducts if you don't give them power. So let's see about pulling out some of those items and putting them into there. Extract. Is that going to work? Is that going to pull out the fertilizer and send it around? It would seem like that is a no. Now, did I set it up right to where the cyclic assembler is outputting to the top? I did not. That is why it is not outputting right. So, let's see. It would be nice. Okay, that's working. It would be nice if this worked without this. And it does. Nope. Does it? Yeah, it does. Okay, so we don't need these pipes here. All it's going to do is it's going to automatically send it from the Tesseract down into here. That is awesome. And that should now be doing this whole area. It's got the same emerald upgrade in as all the rest of them. It should be fertilizing. Look over here. Did you see that? Did you see that line of wheat just get fertilized real quick? Let's like kind of do a bit of a bird's eye view here. We should see like quite a few of them, like you just saw there, get fertilized all at once, which is pretty good. And this should, you're seeing along the bottom here, they're all kind of getting fertilized in rows. It's going around and doing rows of fertilization. Now, much like bone meal, it's not like insta-growing them. It's kind of growing them a little bit at a time. But still, it's going to result in a massive increase in the amount of wheat that we get. And as you can see, this is doing a pretty good job of being almost full up. It's using quite a bit of fertilizer at a time. Let's go check down here and make sure all this stuff is keeping up. This one is out of scrap? Oh, wow. Okay, so right now, the issue is scrap. We are running out of scrap. Which, I mean... yeah, we have a much larger backlog of bone meal than we do scrap. And what we might have to do is set up multiple of these recyclers and see if that would work. I've tried putting more overclockers in, but without adding, like, it's weird because these red net energy cables can only transfer so much, so we have to have them going to each side. And I can't really get many more than 10 in. I think like 12's the max, maybe. but then that slows down my other machines. If we go really over 10, it kind of becomes, you can see right now, it's kind of losing power a bit. It's not really keeping up all too well. We'll see how this goes. We'll see if the machine upstairs manages to keep up with the amount of fertilizer being produced. If it does, we'll set up some more. It seems to be doing okay. Like, we seem to be, well, we have just kind of given it an influx of scrap there. But we'll see how this goes. Let's do a final check here on the system and see how it's doing. Are we now, like, backed up? Are things working again? We're not backed up. That is for sure. It's still kind of not there, but we'll check again towards the end of the episode and see how it's doing, see if the fertilizer is making a difference. Now, the next thing that I want to work on is I want to work on improving the TNT generators over here, because these also are not really working at maximum efficiency. And somebody in the comment section suggested a spawner from Draconic Evolution. Now, the way that that's going to work is if we go ahead and take a look at the Draconic tablet. Let's have a look here. Draconic tablet, or Draconic tablet, whatever you want to call it. If we look in here and we scroll all the way down, you will see, if we keep going, this guy, the stabilized mob spawner. To get started, right-click any vanilla spawner with a Draconic core to stabilize it. You now have an empty transportable spawner. Use any mob soul on the spawner cage to change it to that type. So basically, this allows us to create our own spawner. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a creeper spawner to try and get more gunpowder. And we can also make the spawner faster and work better than a vanilla spawner with some upgrades. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I think I know where there is a zombie spawner. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go grab a... with a Draconic core. We need a Draconic core. Let's grab a Draconic core. We should be able to make one of those fairly easy. Draconic core. Let's grab one of these. Boom, boom. And then, let's go find ourselves a spawner. We're also going to need, I think, a Draconic pickaxe in order to pick the thing up. And for that, we're going to need a lot more stuff, including a bunch more of these Draconic cores. So let's take 3 more of those. I think we should have enough Draconium to get through this episode, but I haven't really counted too much, so I'm a bit wary about how much we have. Let's make that. It seems like we have enough Draconian ingots. Did we make that? We did not. Let's do that. Let's do that. We're missing the diamond pickaxe. That's fine. We can make that. Boom, boom, boom. That gets to the pickaxe. That should start to charge up using our wireless charger, which it is. So, I'm going to go away, guys. I'm going to try and find a vanilla spawner, and I'll be back in a second. Okay, so once you found a vanilla spawner, all we got to do is just right-click it with our Draconic core, and then we should be able to pick it up with our pickaxe of the Wyvern. Like so. Nice. So now I'm going to take this back to base, and I will see you guys in a second. Okay, so a little while later, we now have our empty mob spawner, which is ready to become a creeper spawner. It's just a stabilized mob spawner right now, ready to become a creeper spawner. What we need to do in order to make it into a creeper spawner is get a creeper soul, and that's where things get a little bit difficult, because in order to get a creeper soul, we need a Draconic sword with the Reaper enchantment on it, and again, this thing is a bit of a pain to make, but I think we should be able to make it kind of just with the amount of stuff that we have. Let's see, Sword of the Wyvern, we need another one of you, let's take that, we also need one of those, let's do that, and then Diamond Sword, we probably don't have one, let's make one of those, and boom, almost, boom, boom, boom. Nice, and again, it's just start charging up, and now we need to enchant this thing to make it, well, we need to try and get the Sword of the Wyvern, so I'm going to bump this guy up to our auto-enchanter that we made a long time ago, up to level 30, and see if that works. That's going to start using up quite a bit of essence. It's going to take quite a while to get a level 30 enchant on there, but that should work. And then basically, it's just a random chance drop. I think it might even be 1 in 1,000 of getting the creeper soul from killing a creeper. Now, I think that chance goes up the higher level Reaper you have, and we're going for Reaper 5 with this, so hopefully that will work. I think we might run out of essence here, so what we're probably going to need to do is hook up the mob essence network. Now, what tank were we using for that? We were using an ender tank with blue on the far right, I think that is. Yeah, that looks like blue on the far right. So let's go grab another ender tank. Let's hook that up to this guy over here. That should provide it with all the essence that it needs. Let's see here. Tank. I think we're going to need 2 of these as well. So we'll make 2 of those. We're missing a cauldron. That's fine. We can go ahead and make 2 of those. Wool, we should be fine for. What else were we missing? We're missing ender pearls. Why are we so low on ender pearls? It's because they're all over here. Good stuff. Alright. And all the rest of them also by the mob spawner as well. So we'll take you. We'll make 2 of those. Let's get rid of all of this junk that we have in our inventory. Don't want to get rid of the spawner. We want to keep that for sure. Let's grab 2 lapis. And then let's go and try and hook this up. So, we should be able to hook this up, he says. Let's get rid of this. I don't think we're going to need the rolling machine anytime soon. Let's put you down like so. Let's get the lapis on the far... Is it left? Yeah, it is. Okay. Then if we swizzle this, it should output into there. There we go. That's working again. Good stuff. And then finally, we have this guy over here making a nutrient distillation. This has been set to output brains and output sugar. It's also going to craft sugar if we don't have it, but we have a ton of sugarcane thanks to our sugarcane farm. So we've got 21,000 sugarcane. We should be fine. So this is now making us some nutrient distillation. And that is because the way I'm going to do this, I don't really feel like killing creepers over and over and over again with the sword. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to replace this grinder over here with a killer Joe. And did I get that? Oh, nope, nope, nope. 1 second. Got to make sure it doesn't go out into there. There it is. There it is. It was about to get flipping voided. We were about to throw a Draconic spawner into the trash can there, which would have been a massive mistake on my part. Let's get those item ducts back down. Are they still in there? They are. Let's get those item ducts back down. So this thing is actually going to start to work again. There we go. And then let's replace the spawner with a killer Joe, like so. So now that should be getting, it doesn't need power at all. We can go ahead and we can set down another tank right about there. And we need yellow in order to make it, because the nutrient distillation tank is set to yellow, 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 as you can see right there. We could do that using the yellow from Botania, which is just the floral yellow powder, which is fairly easy to make. It's just some yellow petals with the pestle and mortar, like so. That gets us some yellow petals. We're also going to need, I think, a flue. We have 1 fluiduct, so that should be fine. Let's take that. Did we get Reaper? We didn't. What the heck? Wow, okay, the last... I've tried this a few times in a creative world, and I got Reaper every single time, so we may have to redo that, which is a bit of a pain. Let's go ahead and go boom, boom, boom. And then just stick down a fluiduct. That should start to keep that thing filled up with stuff there. For now, we can put the sword... Oh, no, we don't really want to put the sword in it. It's really cool because the Draconic sword kind of kills areas in mobs in like a 3x3 area. So it's going to kind of kill through all of the mobs at once, which is kind of awesome. But what we're going to have to do now is we're going to have to make a disenchanter and start disenchanting our the sword so we can get the enchantments back so we can try again. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's do this and this. I guess the disenchanter. I think, if I'm not mistaken, we might need a book to actually disenchant this thing. Let's put that in there. Yeah, we need a book to make this work. We need a book to actually put the enchantment on. So let's go ahead and make a book. I think it could be a normal book, but it might have to be a book and quill. Let's see here. If I put you in there, does that work? This GUI is just all wrong. Oh, it does. Okay, so that's going to go ahead and rip some of the flipping things off of this here. Let's go yes. And then let's set that. I think we're going to need more than 1 book. And I think we also have enough leather. Yeah, there we go. We'll take that. I think we're going to need a book per enchantment. So we're going to have to go through and make sure it rips off each one of these here. And then put it back in to try and get another level 30 enchantment, which will hopefully be the Reaper enchantment. Hopefully be Reaper 5 if we can. Let's just see if this actually works. It did. It got us Bane of the Arthropod. So I'm going to go away, guys. I'm going to pull all the enchantments off this thing. I'm going to re-enchant it, and I'll be back in a second. Okay, so that time around, we actually got really lucky. We got Reaper 5, Bane of the Arthropods 5, and Looting 3. The Reaper 5 and the Looting 3 are actually really nice. So, if we were to head back in here and stick this sword in, oh my gosh, that is a lot of mobs. If we were to put the sword into there, it should start to kill these guys. It's active without signal. That's going to start to kill everything in there. And then what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to get rid of this. And do we have a chest? We do, because we made a ton of them. I'm going to grab a chest, and we're going to start storing stuff, because right now we want to be able to keep everything so that we can search through it and see if we get mob souls. So, what I'm going to do now, guys, is I'm going to end... Oh, look, we got a trophy, wow, from Open Blocks. That is also a very rare drop right there. But you do not look like fun. I'm just going to kind of leave you there for now. that's going to go ahead, and you can see it's kind of killing everything in its path right now, which is absolutely fantastic. That's going to go through and dump all the stuff in here. I'm going to have to come back periodically. It's literally a 1 in 1,000 chance to get a zombie trophy, so we'll stick that down like there. But yeah, every so often I'm going to have to come back on, check to see if we have stuff here, see if we've got a creeper soul. Yeah, it's going to take quite a while to try and get a creeper soul, but hopefully we will get one at some point between now and next episode. That's a creeper heart. Close, but not quite there. But yeah, once we come back next episode, we should have a creeper heart, a creeper soul, at which point we can get it in our cage and we can start producing more gunpowder, and then hopefully our TNT generators will be back up and running very nicely. Let's do a quick check on that. That is empty. I'm going to guess that you are out of fertilizer. You are not. You are full. You are full on seeds? Aha. Yeah, that would be an issue. That is something we have to find an answer for, because we're having the same issue with our tree farm. All of the saplings are kind of backing up as well. That is probably why we haven't seen any increase in productivity when it comes to the wheat farm, the bread production there. That's because none of the wheat's been harvested. So, we'll leave that running. We'll see how it does. But for now, guys, thanks for watching. If you did enjoy the video, be sure to hit like, and I will see you guys next time for some more Feed the Beast Infinity.